Hello, and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new stamp set, Big Messages Christmas, and its coordinating dies. We're also going to be introducing our brand new die, Quilted Diamond Backdrop. This creates a panel that's 5.5 by 4.25 inches with the most gorgeous details on it. We're also going to be taking a look at our giant Be Merry, which is so cute and a nice bold sentiment on cards. So let's go ahead and check these all out. First up, we're going to take a look at our Big Messages Christmas, and these are gorgeous big messages. We have Merry Christmas and Deck the Halls. We also have these cute little icons that it comes with that are really fun for stamping around these phrases or helping fill in any scenes on any holiday cards. We have those cute little snowflakes and then these fun little hollies that I think are absolutely adorable. There are also some great sentiments in this set. We have Merry Christmas in a mini version, and then Wishing You a Merry Christmas, and also Season's Greetings. Now I'm going to add some color to these adorable images. I used some light blue on those little snow details just to help them pop, and now we're going to add some greens and reds to the holly leaf and berries. I really like heat embossing these sentiments in gold and silver. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Or you can also add some detail with markers or colored pencils onto the images here. So I'm going to add some red into the berries, and then over the leaf parts, I'm just going to go over them with green, and it's going to really help them pop, and I think it's just going to look really, really beautiful. Now, one of the awesome things about these phrases is that they fit in a 3-inch circle. So a 3-inch stitch circle die, even a 3-inch circle punch, they fit perfectly in that, which is so awesome. But we also have a coordinating die that goes along with these that has a little bit of extra detail if you wanted to add that. So here is that coordinating die, and then we also have the die for some of those cute little mini elements included in the set. And all you need to do is just line up the dies with your images, hold it in place with some low tack tape, and then we can run it through the die cut machine. And we're going to have this beautiful scallop circle with a little dotted detail all around. I think these are so cute, and I love that it's a big, bold sentiment that's really easy to put on a piece of pretty pattern paper or a stenciled background. You could also bring your favorite critters, kind of layering around the sentiments too, and we'll show you some other fun ways to use these sentiments as well. And then those cute little images can be layered over the circles to create extra detail for the holidays. Next, we're going to take a look at the Quilted Diamond Backdrop. I love this die so much. It cuts a panel that's standard size, 5.5 by 4.25 inches, and it does the most gorgeous stitching details on there that is absolutely beautiful. It also cuts all of those little dots there, and so you can add a color behind the panel, and that gives it a cool little pop and a detail, and we'll show you a couple of different ways to use that in the video. But oh my gosh, this background is beautiful for the holidays and beyond. Then we also have our giant Be Merry die. This die is so cute, and it's the perfect bold sentiment on so many different types of cards. And now Shari is going to be creating a super cute card, so take it away, Shari.
I'm creating a card with the new Big Messages Christmas, and I am going to be white embossing it. I really love this set because you can make a really quick Christmas card because this sentiment really fills the front of the card. Now there is a coordinating die that will cut out a circle with a scalloped edge around this, so I was just checking to make sure I had my stamp centered in my cardstock enough to where I had room for my die cut. I'm using some raspberry cardstock, and I'm just treating it with my anti-static powder tool so that I can add my embossing powder without it sticking anywhere but where I put the ink. I'm using clear embossing ink and my MISTI tool to make sure I get a really nice impression, and I'm actually going to stamp this one twice since it's so big. I want really great coverage with my embossing powder. And I'm using some white embossing powder. So this is going to be bright white and really stand out on that raspberry cardstock. So I will just add my embossing powder all over till it is stuck down to that whole stamp impression, and then I can tap off the excess and then use my heat tool. I like to heat up the back of the cardstock a little bit first and then flip it to the front side and make sure that that embossing powder gets all melted and we get that big, beautiful white, bright sentiment. Now I do want to clean this up a little bit because that anti-static powder is still on there, and I just take a damp chamois and just buff that powder away. Then I can die cut my sentiment out with the coordinating die for this stamp set. I like to line it up to where I have a scallop bump at the top and the bottom, but you could line this up however you want. For this card, I'm also using the new Quilted Diamond backdrop, and I'm cutting this from some Ballet Slipper cardstock. Most of those little holes came out, but we can use the new Pick Up Pokey tool to poke out the ones that did not. And this is going to be the background for my card. This makes for a really quick background. I'm layering this over a piece of Watercolor Wishes 12 by 12 paper, just so that teal can peek through those little openings. Now I did do a little inking on this background to make that design kind of pop. So I'm using my guava ink and a blending brush, and I'm just going to go all the way around all the edges and the corners and pull that ink in from the outside. And you can see how it really makes that beautiful detail that the background die cuts stand out when that ink kind of catches on those little details. Now I can add this whole background panel to my card base. And then I'm ready to add my sentiment, and I want this to pop up off the card and have some really great dimension. So I'm using some foam tape all over the back and just centering that up towards the top. Now I pulled out the holly leaves border die, and there is the one little branch. I cut the leaves and the berries, and I'm also using the little jingle bell and the string from the new Christmas stocking die set. For the holly, I cut these from algae cardstock, and I'm just taking those little branches and a little bit of liquid glue and tucking them right up under that circle. Since it's popped up with the foam, it's really easy to kind of tuck these into place and decorate around that sentiment. And if you want to tuck it a little further, but the foam is in the way, you can easily just trim it off, but I actually didn't need to do that for any of these. And then I'm adding some little dots of glue where the berries go, and I will just pick up these little tiny berries with my pickup tool and drop them into place. I did cut the berries from lobster cardstock. I really love all the pinks and reds going on this card. Now for the little jingle bells, I cut the jingle bell on top out of sunflower cardstock, and then I cut another one from narwhal cardstock, and I'm going to layer them together and slightly offset them, and that gives these little jingle bells kind of a shadow. I am making sure that the little hole at the top where the string goes is lined up, so I have a hole to put my string. My little string is also from the Christmas stocking set for these little jingle bells to hang on, and I cut that from mermaid cardstock. I'm just putting a little dot of glue on the back of the bell. I'm threading the end of the string through the little loop at the top of the bell on the front, so then it goes to the back and gets tacked down with that dot of glue on the back of the bell. Then I can add these to my card. I'm putting a foam square on the back of the bell so it will be popped up because I want the string where the little bow is to hang off the bottom of my circle where my sentiment is. So I will just add a little bit of liquid glue there, and then that will get tacked down right on that circle, and then my bells can be popped up down at the bottom. Now there is a little loop in the Christmas stocking set. This is to put at the top of the stocking to hang the stocking, but I'm using it in a little bit of a different way. I cut two of them and I'm layering them over the bow on the bell string to kind of give it a little more dimension and make it look like it has two loops. Finally, for some shine, I'm adding some gold gems. So I sprinkled those around where I wanted them on the background, and I'm just adding them with a little bit of liquid glue. Now I'm coming in with my stickles and I am making all those berries shimmery and shiny. I'm also adding glitter to the jingle bells and the string. And then I am adding some to the little round dot details or the berries in my sentiment. I did go back in and pull in some of that gold gems into the sentiment circle, so I'm just adding a couple of those. I added a few on the little circles that were embossed as well. And then here is my finished card with that beautiful quilted diamond backdrop, that big, beautiful, big messages sentiment. And I just think this is a really beautiful card that came together fairly quickly.
Shari, this card is absolutely gorgeous. I'm obsessed with this card and I can't wait to make one just like it. And I love how you ink the edges of that backdrop. It really brought out all of the details. Next up, I'm going to be making a pull and slide surprise interactive card. And this die has this pull tab piece, so we're going to die cut that from some black licorice cardstock, and we're going to heat emboss the Deck the Halls sentiment onto this. And so here I'm going to go ahead and take my white ink here. This is white Yeti pigment ink. It's a nice sticky ink that you can heat emboss with, or you could use clear embossing ink too. And so we're going to stamp that down onto our black cardstock that we prepped with an anti-static powder tool, and then we can sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder. Then we can top off any of the excess and heat it up with our heat tool to get a beautiful, nice, bright, white, shiny sentiment. And I love the contrast and how beautiful this sentiment looks on that black licorice cardstock. Next, we're going to do a fun chalkboard art technique. So here I'm using a white colored pencil, and I'm just adding lines there just kind of around the curve of the different letters, just adding them randomly here and there. And this is going to give it the look of that chalkboard art that you might see like in a coffee shop. I think this is so pretty. I was inspired by Megan from the design team to create this card, and I absolutely love how she did this. I think it looks so cool. Now on my version, I decided to use only white colored pencil, but also you could use some like red and greens over the holly and the berries, and that's what Megan did on hers, and both looks absolutely amazing. I also love that these new Big Messages Christmas fit on the pull and slide surprise. It's such a fun way to use these, and you'll see when we create the whole card. It's going to look so awesome. And here is a look at the finished chalkboard art that we created. This is so pretty. I love it so much. And I love that it's a great match for the pull and slide surprise. It's so cool how it fits on that pull tab. But you could also do this detail onto that scallop circle coordinating die it comes with, and that would be so pretty on a card layered on some pretty pattern paper. So here we have our All the Sparkles paper, and we're going to take out this red stripe, which is so perfect for the holidays. And we're going to take out this main piece here from the pull and slide surprise die. We're going to die cut this striped piece, and then we're also going to be die cutting some wood grain cardstock with the same die. And so we're going to be layering the red stripe as a frame over top of that wood grain cardstock. And so you'll see there's a little score line at the top that the die creates for you. I'm just going to fold back along that score line, and then I'm going to line this up in my paper trimmer and just trim out from cut to cut there, just like that. We're going to trim out that center piece to create a frame that we can layer over the wood grain cardstock piece. And so here you'll see that we're going to fold back along those score lines again. There's 3 score lines that the die creates for you. We're going to fold back along that top score line, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to reinforce that fold line. Then we're going to fold kind of like a little mountain here in the center. And again, we're going to use the bone folder to reinforce that score line. And then at the bottom, we're going to fold out so that it looks almost like a little foot there at the bottom. And so we're going to fold back along that, just like that. And again, use our bone folder to create a nice sharp crease on this interactive mechanism. Then we can just add some tape runner to the back of that frame piece that we cut and layer it over top of this mechanism. And now we'll have that beautiful red stripe with the wood grain in the center. Now we need to create a base for our interactive mechanism, and I'm going to be using that new Quilted diamond backdrop. And I die cut some black licorice cardstock from that. And I'm just going to measure here this interactive mechanism. It's going to be 3.5 by 4 3/4. So I just need to trim down this piece to be that same size, because this is going to layer behind that interactive mechanism and be the really pretty detail that peeks out as you pull the tab. Then I'm also going to trim down some more of this All the Sparkles paper in this really pretty greenish teal color, and that's what's going to peek out from behind my backdrop here. So the backdrop die cuts all of those little holes, and I love it because you can have that really pretty pop of color, and now we have that really pretty turquoise there underneath that quilted diamond look that's been trimmed down to the same size as that interactive mechanism. Now next we're going to flip this piece over, and the pull and slide surprise die comes with this little die here that cuts these strips for you. I'm just cutting those out of some black licorice cardstock just because that happened to be in front of me on my desk, but you could use any cardstock for this. We're going to add some liquid glue to the back of these little strips, and we're going to layer them on either side of this interactive mechanism on the back of the mechanism. So we're going to layer that one there, just kind of eyeballing it, centering it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we'll do the same thing with the other one. We can add some liquid glue with the glue tube and then layer that onto the other side. Then we're going to take some double-sided tape and we're going to be adding it onto that little bottom tab, that little one that we folded at the bottom there. And this is again on the back part of this mechanism, and we're going to add our nice strong tape, our 1/4 inch double-sided tape to that. Then we can bring back that pull tab piece that we worked on earlier. We can peel up the liner paper there on the back of our interactive mechanism. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to line it up with the pull tab. And you'll see that there's a little notch at the top of the mechanism, and the pull tab is going to fit right there, and we're going to line up the top of the tab with the top of the mechanism, just like that. Then once we have it in place, we can just press down and secure that adhesive, and that's going to attach right onto that pull tab. And then you can pull the tab and start to see how this is going to work with that really cool pop of the sentiment at the top. I am loving this so much already. So now we can flip this whole piece over, and we're going to be attaching it to that quilted diamond piece that we created earlier. And so we're going to add some liquid glue onto those little strips of cardstock, and only onto those cardstock there. So onto those little tiny strips of our black licorice cardstock on either side of that pull tab. And then once we have those, we can just layer it right on top of our quilted diamond piece. And so now when you pull the tab, there's going to be this really surprise, beautiful detail at the top and also on the inside. And if you've never made a pull-in slide before, make sure to check out the intro video. We'll link it in the description below. Next, we're going to create a card base for this. So I'm taking some more All the Sparkles paper in that same beautiful teal color that we added behind those little openings in the quilted diamond backdrop, but I'm using the one with the beautiful sparkles on it. And I went ahead and layered that onto a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25. Then we added some foam squares to the back of the entire pull and slide mechanism, and we're going to layer that right into the center of that panel, and it's looking so beautiful. And now it just needs a little decoration. And we're going to be using the brand new Christmas stocking die here. This stocking is so cute and so much fun to play around with. And so we die cut the details from white cardstock and the stocking from some lobster cardstock. The die comes with these cute little snowflakes that you can emboss into the top detail of the stocking. And oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that so cute? So we're going to layer the detail on the foot and the heel and then at the top of the stocking. And this is just looking adorable already. Now, next we're going to add a cute little kind of string as if it was hanging. This is a part of the Christmas stocking die too. And so we can just layer that on with a bit of liquid glue. And then we need to find some things to fill the stocking with. And this is a great time to shop your stash. You could take a look at your stamped images and find some cute little stamps that could fit inside. In this case, I took a look at our new Christmas accessories here for our Build-A-Critters, for our fox and our bunny. And there's all these cute little images. There's a gingerbread man and candy canes and a present. There's a star. And I just thought these were so cute and sweet and a really fun thing to put inside of the stocking. And so I die cut them out of some white cardstock, and we're just going to be adding some color with our markers here. And so I'm going to be adding some reds and greens, some brown onto the gingerbread man. And oh my goodness, these are going to look so cute. And I just love adding detail to my die cuts using my markers like this. But of course, these would look beautiful cut out of pattern paper or out of different colors of cardstock. Next, we're going to layer the gingerbread man onto the base piece that adds the little white candy buttons there. And then we can layer the present bow on top, which is looking so adorable. The Christmas stocking die has these really cute jingle bells. It's a little string you can layer either jingle bells or pom-poms from. And so I went ahead and die cut that string and used the same green markers to color those in. And now we're going to start tucking everything into the stocking. The stocking die cuts a little cut line at the top so that you can tuck all of these cute images in there. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. You can also put our Build-A-Critters, both the bunny and the fox, in the stocking, and it's so adorable. And so I'm going to keep kind of tucking these in so that the stocking looks really nice and full. And look how adorable that's looking. It's just so sweet. And then we can start working on our jingle bells. So I die cut the jingle bells from some gold metallic cardstock, and you'll see they have a little hole at the top, and you can just put the string right through the hole. And then once you do that, I like to add a little drop of liquid glue on the back, and then I just kind of hold it in place with my finger and let it dry a second. And that's the perfect way to attach the jingle bells onto the die cut string. And then we can add some liquid glue to one of the jingle bells and then the top of the string, and then add it onto the little corner there of the stocking. Look at that. Isn't that so cute? There's something about that metallic cardstock that is just so fun. I also think it would be fun to put an actual little pom-pom or an actual jingle bell on this. It would be so cute and sweet. And then next, I'm going to take my white gel pen here and just add a little bit of detail to all of the little images that are in the stocking and then around the stocking too. And I just think it makes it look super, super cute. Look how fun that stocking is. And then the last thing that I need to do is add a little more detail to the stocking. So there's this cute little snowflake die, and I'm going to die cut that out of some pixie dust cardstock, which is like a white sparkle. And then we're just going to layer that into the middle of the stocking. And I think it's really cute because it kind of matches that little snowflake detail on the cuff of the stocking. So now we're going to bring back our pull and slide mechanism, and we're going to be adding that stocking to the front of the card. And we attach things to the pull and slide mechanism. You only want to attach it to that bottom part of the panel so that when it folds up, the whole thing can lift. So we're just adding some adhesive to the bottom of the stocking so that it only attaches to the bottom part of the pull and slide mechanism. And so now that we have our adhesive on there, you can see I realized I needed to add a little bit more, and then we can layer that right over top and press down onto the mechanism to secure it in place. And then at this point, I always like to test and make sure that I have my adhesive in the right place, and I do. You can see how the mechanism is working and how it lifts the stocking up into the air to create a cool three-dimensional look. Now the pull and slide surprise die comes with this really cute little pull tab die, and so I die cut that out of that same All the Sparkles cardstock so that it matches the background of the card. I'm going to fold along the little score line that the die creates for me. Then we're going to add some adhesive to the inside of this and then just kind of sandwich it over the pull tab. And I really like this because it's got the little arrow which is going to let the recipient know that there's something fun that it's going to happen when you pull this pull tab. And then look how cool this is. As you pull a tab, you get that incredible big messages right there. The deck the halls comes up, and then the stocking is like three-dimensional. Oh, it's so fun. Now, for the inside of a pull and slide surprise, you can add a gift card, which is so awesome, or you can add a sentiment or something else. I decided to add a sentiment here, but I actually think it would be fun to layer a gift card over top of the sentiment too, so that when they pop the gift card off, you could also see a cute little phrase. So here we're going to stamp the season's greetings. It's a part of the Big Messages Christmas stamp set, and we're going to be die cutting that with these mini frame dies. And these is an oldie but a goodie, and I love these little frames here. And so we're going to die cut this out of some gold metallic cardstock, and that's going to give us a little frame. And then we're just going to put it right over our sentiment, and then we're going to run that through the die cut machine, and that's going to die cut the sentiment part we can inlay into the frame. So you'll see it's just going to cut the perfect little shape to inlay right in there. And so all we need to do is just add some adhesive to the back of our frame and then also to our sentiment piece, and we can layer it there. And I love that the pull and slide surprise is the perfect size for a gift card. It's so easy to just layer one right inside here, and as they pull the tab, they would get the fun surprise of the gift card or the fun surprise of this sentiment. So look how cool this is. I love that you just kind of have no idea what's going to happen, and then you get this gorgeous sentiment at the top with that really fun detail we added with the white colored pencil. It's just so pretty. And the pull and slide surprise is such a great interactive die for the holidays because it's a great way to present a gift, and I think it's so fun to have that stocking kind of popped up in the air. It would be so pretty displayed on somebody's mantle, and they are just so much fun to play with here. So we're going to pull that tab again, see that cool three-dimensional stocking, our season greetings phrase, and that fun quilted diamond backdrop on the inside, and then our really cool deck the halls sentiment on that pull tab at the top. So next up, Shari is going to create a super cute card featuring our giant Be Merry and our brand new Build a Fox. So take it away, Shari.
So I'm creating a simple Christmas card today with the quilted diamond backdrop, which I'm cutting from white cardstock, and I'm just going to make sure all those little holes are poked out. And then I'm going to take a piece of the 12 by 12 from All the Sparkles. This is the red stripes. I'm going to cut this down and then use the largest stitch rectangle to cut out a panel. So we get that nice stitching detail around the edges. Then I'm going to take the reverse stitch scallop rectangle window and cut a window out of the center. And this is where we're going to see that quilted backdrop peek through our frame. Now I wanted something sparkly to show through those openings rather than just a color, so I am putting a piece of silver sparkle cardstock onto my card base. I did trim this down just slightly smaller than 4¼ by 5½ so that those sparkly edges did not run the chance of peeking out the edges. For that quilted backdrop, I am going to add this with liquid glue around all 4 sides, and then I'm going through those diagonals, just skipping the holes, and this is going to help this really stick down to that textured sparkle cardstock. And I will just line this up, and I'm actually going to lay a big block on top to make sure that this dries nice and flat. Now, before I put my window together, I'm going to create a little build a fox. I'm just using his body and his face, not his arms at the moment. And I also cut out some sparkle cardstock for a little Santa hat. This little guy is going to be peeking out the corner of the window. So I need to assemble my build a fox. So I'm putting that solid black piece to layer behind the eyes and the ears. And then for the lighter part of the face, I actually use dolphin cardstock. And then I have that little circle that's also black, which will fill in the nose. I did cut out the body so I could add the head, but I don't have any arms yet. I did end up adding one once I got this onto my card. Then I have my sparkly Santa hat. I actually forgot to cut the little circle for the little palm at the end, but I went and added that with some pixie dust sparkle cardstock. So he has a shimmery Santa hat to look all festive. So this little guy is going to peek out the corner of my window here, and I just want to figure out exactly how I want him placed to figure out where I want the little Santa hat to be. I think it's going to be kind of tilted over on his left ear. I think that's really cute. So I'll just add that with a little bit of adhesive. And then I'm going to add some adhesive on the back side of that corner where I want him to be. And I will just stick him down. And I'm glad I used the adhesive runner because to me this was a little low. You just saw the head. So I moved him a little bit so you could actually see a little more of the body. And then I decided I actually did want to add one of his arms like it's hanging over the side of the frame. So I cut out one of those arms that kind of folds towards the inside of the body. And of course, the little detail that goes over his paw. And now he looks like he's really just hanging out in the frame, peeking out the corner. And I will just trim off those feet that are hanging out the bottom. I put foam tape all over this frame and all over the back of my fox so that the whole thing can be popped up off of that quilted diamond background. And I will just pop this right onto my card. I'm actually doing it upside down so I can make sure that the top is nice and straight. And I just think that that is so cute. Now for my sentiment, I'm using that giant bee Mary. I cut it out of peacock cardstock as well as the silver sparkle cardstock. And I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back of the peacock one so that I can layer them together with a slight offset and get that sparkly drop shadow on the sentiment. And I will just lay a block on that for it to dry as well. And once it's dry, I added some little foam thin strips all over the back. I did avoid the far left and the far right of the sentiment, so the M and the Y, because I knew that was going to kind of overlap my frame. Now there is a star die in the Build a Critter Christmas accessories, and I cut 3 of those, and I am going to add them to my card. I'm adding one down in his hand like he's holding it. And then I added the other 2 sprinkled around. And honestly, once I got these on here, I wanted even more stars. So I took out the trusty Hearts and Stars skinny tag and cut a whole bunch more stars with that silver sparkle cardstock. And I've just sprinkled them around. I'm picking them up and adding them with my liquid glue once I figured out their placement. I even went back and added a few more once I got those glued down. With all these stars, I definitely did not need more glitter. So here's a look at my finished card with that big sentiment, that cute fox. I love the framing that quilted backdrop in the background, and I just think this turned out so cute.
This card is so cute, Shari. I absolutely love that little Santa fox peeking out from the window, and that giant bee Mary is just the perfect sentiment. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this card here by Audrey just blew me away. It's so clean and simple and cute. It uses the quilted diamond backdrop, the bee Mary, and even some fun details from our new Christmas stocking die. This card by Grace is so sweet. And that little cat, she created that from our adorable new Build-A-Fox. How creative is that? And I love the bee Mary cut out of that striped paper. This card by Mindy is so beautiful. She heat embossed the Deck the Halls and created this beautiful shaker card. I just love it. Here, this card by Rebecca is so fun. She stenciled a really fun string of lights in the background and then heat embossed her sentiment for a super cute Christmas card. This card by Elena is so pretty. I love the giant bee Mary, and the background of the window has that awesome quilted diamond backdrop. Here, Mindy shows that the Giant Be Merry is a perfect sentiment for some of your favorite sets, and My Sun Ice is one of my personal favorites. This card by Tammy is so fun because those big messages fit inside of our Build a Snow Globe, which is so cool. This card here by Shari is so much fun. The Giant Be Merry is such a great bold sentiment with the new Nordic snowflake border and our Village Hillside border too. This card by Lynette is so pretty. I love the quilted diamond backdrop cut out of white cardstock. It's perfect for winter. And then here, this card by Melissa is so much fun. I love her quilted diamond backdrop and that striped Be Merry. This card here by Elise is so pretty, and she used the holly from the Big Messages Christmas around the Giant Be Merry in such a fun way. And then this card by Letitia is so pretty. I love the colors that she used and that bold Deck the Hall sentiment. So we cannot wait to see all of your awesome Big Messages Christmas cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!